It has been a great summer for movies, and we've got to talk about them today. We've got our movie guy with us, Rob Rector, here. We're going to get into some of the Revival House stuff and Lego stuff in our next segment. Right now, we want to talk movies.
Let's do it.
So, Rob, we're a little more than halfway through the summer.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? What have you loved?
So this year, so far, it is projected that the 2025 box office will be about 20% over 2024's.
Nice.
Which is a very encouraging.
Big win for
It is
movies.
a big
Movies are
win.
back.
Yeah. And I think, and not to mention, a lot of them have been getting really good audience feedback and critical reception as well too.
Makes a big difference.
So that is, and even enough room for a couple films on the top of the list that are original, which is always encouraging.
Sinners was huge.
Oh, it was so
was an
good.
original.
What a big swing,
money too.
right?
Yes.
And I think to me that's one of the biggest indicators for me is that here is a new IP that is, again, the director and the star are famous, but still there's a lot of gambling there.
Yeah.
Almost a 3-hour movie set in the 1930s, and yet it's still one of the top 10 of the summers. And then we get into the big, name blockbusters that we're so familiar with. You've got Jurassic World, Reborn, which did better than expected, and then the most recent one would be Superman, which is really blowing the doors off.
I think it's going to have legs because of what you said there towards the top of the movies are starting to be well received by audiences. Those things make such a big difference.
Word of mouth.
Again, going back to Sinners,
Yep.
that had very little fall off from its first weekend to its second weekend
Yeah.
and ran for a long time. I think Superman's going to have a similar run, although it's interesting to know if Fantastic Four is going to cut into any of that momentum.
So for those of us who have waited years for the big, DC, MCU kind of clash battle, you're about to see what's the result of it this week.
They're similar in a couple of different ways. We've seen a bunch of them that haven't worked for years.
Exactly.
You saw the most recent Fantastic Four was a total flop, and it had stars. It had Michael B. Jordan. It had other guys like that in it. But it sounds like, at least from early buzz, that both of these might have been done pretty well.
I think the retro setting for both of these is really interesting. Like Superman's set modern, but there's definitely like 60s vibes throughout it.
Or 90s, 80s vibes.
From
Lois
the
Lane's
fashion
outfit
to the-
alone
yeah,
is
yeah.
like 90s, with the shortcut pants. The whole ethos of Superman really too is kind of this like old school, truth, justice.
It's
You know
the
what I
OG
mean? Like,
campy,
truth, justice, and kindness is punk rock idea is going back to more of the original kind of pre-Snyderverse.
you bring up Snyderverse, so Man of Steel is really the one that is kind of being it's compared to in terms of box office because they're both about kind of neck and neck right now. So if we see that jump over the fence of Man of Steel, then I think DCU is in a very strong. I think they already are, but I think they'll be even a more strong category to be like, okay, this is the universe we want to create, and we have the green light to do it.
I feel like they also really laid the groundwork for more of a broader DCU, if you will, with Superman. Where
Absolutely.
I feel like in Snyder's versions, there hasn't really been like an interconnected, except for Justice League and Batman versus Superman.
I agree, and I think that James Gunn is like the
your guy,
James Cameron, where you just don't discount them. You may sit there and think, why are you going for Superman? Why are you going for another Avatar movie? And every single time they surpass expectations.
Knocks it out of the park. He
So
brings it.
exactly. So I'm not
gets
questioning
it.
his decisions from this point forward.
So let me give everybody a quick rundown because I've got the list here of where we are
He came
in
prepped.
2025 right now.
Nerd.
And this is domestic, not worldwide. Because
I'm still remembering our bet too.
and you may have me on that one. Although I think Superman again. I think it's going to have legs. I don't know if it can get to the top end. But here's what we've got so far for the year. Minecraft movie was #1. Lilo and Stitch #2, Sinners #3 right now, although I think both Jurassic World, which is 4, How to Train Your Dragon, which is 5, and Superman, which is 6, I think they all eventually will pass Sinners
all gonna get
in their overall domestic box office. But those are big numbers, and it looks like next year's slate is also going to be big.
The beginning of this year started off really slow. We were 12% under box office than we were last year in 2024, and 2024 was 12% under what 2023's numbers were. Whatever it is, people are starting to gravitate back to the theater because, let's face it, it's the most accessible art form that we have today. You know, so
some movies had been on hold, so some big movies started to come out this year.
Yeah.
But two, we talk about third spaces a lot.
Yeah.
There's not that many of them anymore. Movie theaters still are, and movie theaters force you to put the phone down, be present.
Yep.
It's an actual reason to get out of the house,
It
and it's
envelops
different
you.
than watching it on the couch at home.
There's a distinct difference between going and just watching a movie and experiencing a movie, and I think those theaters do create that kind of setting. And really, it's that communal engagement that you can have afterwards. You know, sharing your reactions immediately with people right out of the theater, like laughing with them, talking with them. So I think that it's a very encouraging number for us this year. We're really well on our way, and I think this year or this weekend coming up is going to be really telltale as well too, with the whole Fantastic Four versus Superman.
Well, Rob, you know I could sit here and talk movies with you all day, but we have other things that we need to talk to you about as well. So stick around. We have another block coming up. We're going to be talking Legos, and we'll explain why after this.